It's such a conflicting feeling whenever you start to understand all of the symptoms and preferences that go into your specific like neurodivergent diagnosis. And there's this like grief and anger and like sadness and frustration, not only at yourself, but like other people. So whenever I got diagnosed with ADHD, like the doctors, like not telling like my parents what that meant or how that might show up. And even being mad at like my parents and my caregivers because they didn't understand why I was acting the way that I did. They didn't try to get curious, but also trying to be understanding because like at the time, like nobody really knew what ADHD meant other than like, oh, your kid's just hyper. They didn't understand that there can be an inattentive aspect, that there is the hyperactive aspect, that I'm gonna be weird, that I'm gonna stem, that I'm gonna have different needs than my siblings had, and then trying to work through that as you get older, and just the trauma that comes with trying to fit into a neurotypical world, and trying to understand who you are, and then the anger and frustration at yourself and the sadness that you had to come up with all these coping mechanisms at such a young age when you didn't even know what this diagnosis meant either, and trying to notice or recognize all the times that you did mask throughout your life, all the times that you put your authentic self aside to make other people comfortable so that you could cope in a world that was not catered to your specific needs or preferences or like just who you are as a person. And that's something that I've been trying to work through and manage, especially like over the past like 2 years, ever since I started taking my ADHD diagnosis like seriously, and educate myself on what those symptoms could mean to me specifically, and like women who are diagnosed with ADHD, and all of the ways that therapists and coaches and other like medical, like self-help, mental health, like providers like have let me down because they themselves weren't educated in how neurodivergent people like manage and move through the world. And it's just, it's an experience. And I will say that, but if I could give any advice to anybody who is experiencing this or who has moved through this, it's just learning to give yourself that space to grieve, to feel the anger, to feel whatever you need to feel, while also educating yourself and learning to dismantle like internalized ableism, and just learning what your diagnosis means to you, how it shows up in your life, and how you can work with it instead of against it, and start accepting and learning yourself. So I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but I hope it does. And I can make more videos just about this. Just let me know in the comments. But otherwise, my name is Sarah. I'm your favorite self-experimenting coach or companion, and I help get people reacquainted with who they most authentically are. You're an amazing person, and I hope you have the best day.